About 2 months ago, Microsoft invited me to attend Microsoft Build as part of their Tech Creator Content program. For those that may be unaware, Microsoft Build is Microsoft's annual developer conference where developers, software engineers from all over come together to learn more about new features. They have workshops that you can attend, keynote sessions, and overall it's a great networking and learning opportunity. I figured I would share what the creator program looked like as well as what Microsoft Build was like in person. It was incredibly exciting and very, very fun. So if you're interested, then keep watching. And if you're new here, my name is Sophie. I make videos regarding tech and trying to lower the barrier of entry into tech. So if you're interested, check me out on Instagram and TikTok and also subscribe. So about 2 months ago, I got flued out by the one and only Microsoft.
The top 20 winners will get flued out.
But this wasn't your typical brand trip. The other creators that were on the trip, for the most part, were working professionals in the tech industry. And so if anything, it felt more like an opportunity to network and learn. The program actually started off a few weeks before we even touched down in Seattle. Each week leading up to the event, I think it started like 3 weeks before the event, we got to meet with industry experts that would give us a little bit more insight into what they do at their job, what they work on, why they do what they do. It was all virtual, but it was a really nice way to connect and learn before even getting to Seattle. Among some of the people that we got to meet were Lemore Freed, the CEO of Adafruit, Brian Kostanich, the CEO of Wilderness Labs. I'll also preface this by saying that before we met Lemore and Brian, we received a welcome kit. Inside this box, we had a bunch of different tech goodies, a little hack kit from Wilderness Lab, a DIY macro pad from Adafruit. And so before we got to meet with them, we had all these things from their company. So it was really nice to kind of put those two things together and then come to the workshop and kind of ask questions and pick their brain about their products and what they do. Last thing, before we even arrived to Seattle, we all got our faces in Times Square. I think that that's probably one of the coolest things that I've ever had done in terms of like content. Leading up to the actual event was already just 10 out of 10. So my hopes were high and thankfully they were met once we landed. Once we did arrive in Seattle, our rooms were booked across the street from the Seattle Convention Center, so we would have really easy access to get to and from our room during the conference. The very next day was Monday, and Build didn't start until Tuesday. We all arrived on Sunday, so Monday was kind of scoped out for us to visit Microsoft's campus as well as tour the Seattle Convention Center so we would know what was going on when Build actually started. And also, we had an executive dinner at the end of Monday to kind of just network a bit more and talk with more people at Microsoft and just kind of learn more about what their job entails, get advice on different situations, and all in all, really just network more. One of the first spaces that we visited was called the Visitor Center, and right outside is the iconic Microsoft sign. We went inside and we got to see kind of a 3D model mock-up of what Microsoft's campus expansion is going to look like. We also got to see a bunch of different historical Microsoft products, which was really cool. Last year, I even got to visit the MS Archives, which kind of hosts all of Microsoft's products ever from like their inception. So that was really nice. And of course, before heading over to our next stop, we had to get a quick TikTok in front of the Microsoft sign. Our next stop was the Accessibility Lab, where we got to learn more about how Microsoft designs inclusive technologies, from something as simple as, let's say, Microsoft Surface Adaptive Kit, which is stickers essentially that you put onto your keyboard or different places to kind of help you or maybe just make your experience a little bit better for whatever your needs may be, to the Xbox Adaptive Controller. And it was interesting to kind of learn more about what that ideation process looks like and learn more about how these technologies work. And from there, we headed over to the anechoic chamber. I won't spoil it, so just check out this quick little video. Come with me inside the quietest room in the United States. It's called the anechoic chamber. Located on Microsoft's campus, its main use is to test out audio on new products, but we got to stand in there and even went without light for 30 seconds. The sensation is very weird. It's no wonder it's not recommended to stay in there longer than 45 minutes. I will say, one thing that I didn't mention in that video, that I got a weird ear popping sensation. And I don't even know how that's possible, but you know when you go on a plane and your ears pop? Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. And I also feel like I had trouble breathing, which makes no sense, but for whatever reason, I felt like I couldn't breathe. And then the whirlwind of events began. Day one of Build was action-packed. So we started off the day with Satya's keynote, heard some really amazing announcements that are all public now. My favorite was GitHub Copilot Chat, which was demoed by the CEO of GitHub, who we later got to meet in person and had an intimate conversation with. And he's like one of the most down-to-earth, coolest people you'll ever meet. He answered some really interesting questions, and he also took selfies with each and every one of us at the end of our intimate conversation, which I thought was very, very nice and very, very cool. I've also tried out GitHub Copilot Chat. I know that you have to be on a wait list in order to join, but that was 2 months ago. I don't know if it's changed now, but let me know if you're interested in me demoing it and showing kind of how I use it. It's actually pretty cool and pretty useful. Day two was filled with some workshops, and we actually each got paired with a different Microsoft executive to interview. And I actually got the opportunity to interview Charles Lamanna, who was the CVP of the Power App platform. I have the whole interview up on YouTube if you're interested in checking it out. And the last day of Build actually wasn't too busy. We attended some last minute talks, and then we got to explore Seattle, which was very, very fun. It was also actually really hot, which I wasn't expecting, but we went to Pike's Place, saw the fish getting thrown, the infamous gum wall, the Space Needle, and we also went to a really cool glass museum. All in all, I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I learned so much. I got exposure to new technologies and spaces that I think that I would have otherwise not had access to, and really had the opportunity to just network and cultivate relationships that I know I will maintain for the rest of my life. Anyways, if you got this far, please make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time.